So thank you for joining us. Looking forward to doing the regular daily sessions, which I've also messaged out about. So we'll get that underway shortly as well. Let's do a quick recap of the markets and where they're at the moment. So what I like to do with this session, what I will be doing with the session, is doing a daily review of where the charts are at, and then we're going to be looking at particularly the daily sessions that we're going to be running. That's going to be more focused on, what systems are working well, looking at the automation, looking at any issues with the automation as far as problem solving, uh, sharing best settings, making sure that the systems are properly calibrated. Part of it will be making sure also that we have our process really bedded down for the optimization, that we're not over optimizing, but we just have that whole process in line, and it's functioning well. Because one of the keys to going live, and you'll know this because we speak about it a lot, is that you minimize any errors that you have. So we obviously, with automation, it takes away the potential for human error as far as executing the trade, but you have to have the automation on. You have to make sure that the settings are right. So there's a few little things that you need to tick off on a daily basis to make sure that things are rolling properly and that you're getting access to the opportunities that you need. So let's have a look at our daily charts. We'll quickly go through the chart setups. We've got here this is the S&P at the moment. I'm off my server, so this may run a little bit slower. I'll apologise for that because it's not the server, but I might do the presentations from now on from the server because I've obviously got a different platform and it runs a lot faster because it's connected to the account. So, but the S&P here, we've got that strong sell-off. We're in a bearish trend here, so we've had that retest of the 50, the 200 as well, and that's a nice little rejection point there. So the catalyst or the turning point here will be how price behaves around the 2600 mark, whether we get a double bottom or we break straight through. So you can see there we've kind of got a level of support there at 26. So that previously was resistance, now it's support. It was support back in April, and it looks like it's shaping up to test again. So it'll be interesting this week to see if we get down to that. We probably may even do that on Monday, Tuesday. So volatility is high again on that market. And remember, if you're trading the S&P, the VIX is your volatility index meter, so that would be where you're looking at volatility. But you can see there, just from the volatility standard deviation stochastic at the bottom of our screen, we're up above 80 or just tipping at 80, so 71.4. So that would tell me that if I'm trading an automated strategy, I've got to be watching for slippage, because volatility equals faster price movement, potentially poorer fills. So just keep an eye on your systems and that slippage that potentially comes with that. So if we go now to so that's the S&P. Gold. Gold's bottomed out, so it looks like it's getting got a little bit of support at 1180. We've hit back above 1200. We're above the 50, so the next push to me would be potentially moving up to the 1260 mark. Now this is a market that we're going to spend a lot of time on and talking about and kind of really dissecting, because we've got a few traders who are heavily involved in trading gold. There's plenty of opportunity. I'm going to go through some gold charts a little bit later, but it's a really great market as far as opportunity. There is a significant amount of manipulation that occurs in gold just from our research and looking at the charts. So, but that's something you can take advantage of. So you definitely want to be kind of looking at that as a positive rather than anything else. Let's have a look here for a second, and yeah, if there's any issue with sound, just let me know, and I'll adjust accordingly. But apart from that, the volatility is dipping down on gold. So if you look at the daily chart, this rangy type price action where we've got consolidation, that's going to lend itself to a drop in volatility. So you can see that coming through. So if you are trading strategies, which we are on gold, and I'll go through some of those shortly, that's going to be something that is less of an issue for us for fills and slippage and things like that. So if we look at so that's our gold. Crude oil, wow, like off to the races here with the crude. We've got a strong bearish trend. Volatility's peaked here. So definitely, like, this is the next level is 50. So let's see how we go there. Coming off from a nice sell-off, we've crossed over the 50 and the 200. There may be a potential pullback here at the 50, so we'll see how that goes this week. This is our daily chart. So the next couple of days, Wednesday should be interesting because that'll be our first live session, so we can kind of track how the daily charts are tracking and see what opportunities present themselves there. For soybeans is our last one we're going to have a look at today. Soybeans, I started to grid out both volatility and the average true range, the ATR, because I wanted to make sure that if you're trading a strategy on soybeans or you're trading coffee or whatever it is that you're trading, that you've got a good idea of what your range is for that market. Because one of the things that we're going to cover off going forward is making sure that when you're tracking your system and you're looking at your performance, that not only are you keeping an eye on volatility, but range is important as well. Because if we've got tighter range, then obviously we're not getting that movement that we need in price. So if you have a look at this cluster here of our candle action and price action, you can see that the range, what's typically happened is, apart from a couple of candles, they're fairly tight range. There's not a lot of range in those candles. So that means if you're running a 3-to-1, 4-to-1 reward to risk, that's very, very tight if the range is tightening up. You're not probably going to get the profit ratio to your risk ratio that you want. So you've got to keep an eye on that and make sure that that is something that you address with your strategies. So what we'll talk about, and we'll do this with some of the systems that we track, as we start tracking these charts on a daily basis and looking at volatility and range, we can look at, all right, well, what's causing our system to potentially drop off? What's causing our system to lose its profitability? So a couple of things that we need to do, we need to make sure that we do, is obviously we need to track our results of our system. So if I'm running a system on gold or crude, or it doesn't matter what it is, I want to make sure that, and let's bring up an example here. Say for example, we'll go to gold. Say for example, I'm running this gold trend and it's tracking along nicely. The equity curve looks pretty good. If I look at the bare bones stats on it for the last couple of months, it's running at a good average trade net profit as far as longs and shorts, so it's got a nice even distribution. The trade win rate is where I like it to be. A bit higher would be great, but over 50 is great. So on a daily basis and weekly, I'm wanting to make sure that my performance is maintained. So I'm okay to have a winning week, losing week, or winning 2 weeks, losing 2 weeks, because I know that the stats on this are fairly good. Like, you've got your max drawdown of 930, the max drawdown trade close to close 550. So all the stats are solid on this system. But if I start to drop off my profit factor, if I start to drop off these key stats here, which is your average trade net profit and your win rate, then I'm going to be looking at, why is that happening? Like, where am I losing money? Where is the money going on this system? So if I look at my data window and I break it down over so I've got 4 months loaded up here, of 6 months of data loaded up here. If I look at my data window, I know that I'm not trading every day, because not every day is profitable to trade. So I've taken out the days of the week that are not profitable. But I want to make sure also that if I'm trading gold and I look at gold daily, that if I see a drop off in performance, which can happen obviously, I want to make sure that it's not because the volatility is dropping off or I'm getting tighter price action, I don't have enough profit in the. So I've got to keep an eye on that. So any time that a system starts to lose its luster or lose its performance, I need to do a little bit of a kind of a health check on the system, don't I? Why is it doing that? Why is it that the system is not working well? So in this scenario, if I was all in on say shorts, and this was a shorts only system, the trend trader here, which it's not, it's longs and shorts, then I could quickly come up with I could quickly hypothesize that it's possible that this is because we're getting kind of sideways price action, that my system is not picking up the shorts that it was before because we had a bearish trend, a bias to the short side. So it's less effective because we've got a ranging market. So, but that's not the case. We've got longs and shorts. So ideally I should be picking both long and short trades up in this type of market action. So the key things that are going to impact on my system are going to be volatility, range, which is they're two key things. Possibly the time of the day that I'm trading. So making sure that that there might be a situation where, we have a change in daylight hour savings. I've set this to trade from, say, let's have a look at what we have set this to trade to, because that's going to be a key. So if I look at my system and I say, right, well, it's trading from 4:30 to 10, we might get a change in daylight saving in the US or Australia, and this strategy is running off New York Exchange time, and that change in hours affects obviously the performance of the system because my testing has been done at a different time. So that's why it's important for us to run these optimizations, once a month, just to make sure that we're tuning our system for for volatility, for time of the day, for potential profit and range and things like that. However, if you can clearly see that that your system is flailing and the range and volatility are affecting your system, do you have to wait for that that once a month optimization, or can you potentially substitute that system because your system is dropping off in performance quite dramatically? So my answer to that question would be, you've got to have a benchmark of performance that you track, and if you're starting to, you don't have to let a system hit its max drawdown before you turn it off. Like if you can clearly see that something's affecting the market as far as range and volatility, then there's no reason why you can't turn a system off. That can definitely be a reason for you to turn a strategy off and replace it with something else, whether it's another market. Obviously, if you're trading a trending system or a system that we're trading, you're not really going to be wanting to trade a market that's lost its volatility and range, are you? Because you're not going to get the reward to risk. So that's one of the things that we need to consider when we're tracking these systems. So just jumping back into the trend trader, we've got, as I said before, we'll have a quick look at how it's performed this week. So back to gold, just go back to the gold daily. I'm not really too worried about the range here, that sideways price action, because we're both longs and shorts. Let's get rid of that. We're both longs and shorts, so that doesn't really concern me whatsoever. But I'm definitely keeping an eye on it. Now, this, as I said, this has been a good performer. We've got volatility is dropping off, but our volatility meter is actually increasing or staying at a reasonable rate, so that's okay. Our stochastic's dropping off a little bit. If we have a look at the trend trader in gold, you'll see that. as I said before, if we go through the stats all look pretty good. What I will be doing is giving you a run through of this, or we'll load this up to the PME, which is the portfolio management spreadsheet, which will give us a week by week tracking of this performance as well. So if we have a look at our performance graph, as I said, the returns, it's been pretty solid. If we go back to the periodic returns, you can see there that November's profitable. We also can see that on a weekly basis, we've had a little bit of a drop this week, negative $300, only one trade for last week, but been very consistent. And this is one where, you're losing week. Worst case scenario has been 420, but you've got the potential to bring in over $1,000 of profit. So that's what we want to see with our strategies. We want to see that good reward to risk. So gold, this is one of our gold systems. Obviously, we're fairly heavy into gold, trading gold strategies. So I'll be sharing more of those with you as we go along. Let's have a quick look here. So just on gold, as we spoke last week, we went through the optimization spreadsheet last week with Greg's systems. So this is kind of, I think Greg and I have done a little bit more work since we last looked at this, but we're coming up to our November optimization. So once a month, it's an optimization. As I said last week, it's you're optimizing your initial stop, your trailing stop, your time of the day, and that profit target. Okay, so they're the four key things that we're optimizing. So if you have a look at this system itself, and I'll just share that screen with you. If you have a look at the system itself, which we'll jump back to in a second, there's 30 odd or more settings to optimize. So we're only doing 4. So we're hardly over optimizing the system. But as you can see here, the advantage to doing an optimization, which was the optimization plus looking at the days of the week, is significantly better than just running the basic system once you've tested it and got your settings. So if you do nothing at all, you're going to be profitable, but you're leaving a good chunk of profit on the table by not doing that work once a month. And it's not a lot of work, is it? It's really not. I mean, Greg would probably attest to that as far as the optimization. So that's what we'll come back to there. Now, let's just quickly jump into. So as I said before, November needs to be done. I think we're going to kind of start working on that today, and then we've got to track the performance of the days of the week as well. So making sure that whether they're, which is over here, whether they're getting an opportunity to trade those extra days or not. And as you can see here, when we first started the optimization out in June, there were days that were just not profitable. So Friday on the long side was terrible, but then it became a profitable trading day. So if you think about running a system and you think, well, yeah, I don't know if I want to be worried about drilling down to days of the week profitability, it actually makes a massive difference to the performance of your system. However, and I think I've said this before in a few other webinars, you've got to make sure that your system is actually able to you're actually able to take days of the week off. So if you're trading a higher time frame system like a swing trading system, you're not going to be able to do that potentially. Some days we started out longs gold, Mondays were profitable, then they fell away. Again, you had a little bit of a July-August sweet spot for Tuesday. Wednesday only had 1 month. The rest of the time, you can see the pattern there. So it's very important for us to keep on top of these days of the week. Monday again, you can see a good run there on the Monday. It has always been a day that you would trade. Tuesday dropped off in September. Then you had Wednesdays came good for July, August. And then Thursday, Friday been very, very solid for the last few months. So Very important to track those days of the week. So I'll give you a bit more of an update next week or during the week, sorry, because we start our daily sessions on Wednesday. So your Wednesday, my Wednesday is US Tuesday. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing at least one session a day, possibly two. So that daily session will be at 12 noon New York time. So that should hopefully be good for our US traders, and then there'll be possibly a session in the evening for our Australian traders as well. So let's jump back to the charts here. Now this is what I like, and I will be talking a little bit about the Forex as well here, but what I want to jump into is, so we've spoken about gold. The other market that's tracking well is coffee. Everybody likes coffee. So you can see there, good overall performance. Equity graphs looking pretty good there. It's only shorts though. Short side on coffee. 66% win rate, 65 trades. We've got $185 average trade net profit. This is one of my favorite markets to trade coffee. And our max short end that's one to keep an eye on as well. Now, if we click over, I just want to show you something here which is interesting. This is what I've been working on with gold as well. So this is the gold market profile. So what I've done is I'm putting together this gold multi-system strategy with Greg, and we're doing some work on that. But at the moment, I've been looking at a number of ways to facilitate this and setting up this market profile, and I'll show you an example of how it's been done on MT4, because this is quite good, and I'm kind of going to set something up shortly on. So we'll just move that over, get rid of that for a second. So you can see there, this is that's the current trades. So this is some of the stuff that we've been running on MT4, but what has been, it's not on there, okay. Let me just, I'll come back to that. I will definitely come back to that. So frame up the market profile. So we're looking at having a look at and determining exactly what's happening with the market. Here's an example of the 23rd, trading on the 23rd. So you have a 1 a.m. start, obviously, depending on what time you're starting the session. You're running your automation, but this gives you an idea of how, and the Renko charts are good because they're great at cleaning up price action, so it's not so cluttered and so busy. So what you've got there is you've got that nice simple, straight away we know there's been a breakout, and you can see there that the trend is, we're in a short trend. So this would be a potential, opportunity for short trades only, and this is why it's important to have that market profile. So short trades only for that day, and then you're running your automation accordingly. So every kind of time slot that you're trading is giving you information on what kind of trades you should be trading. So shorts only, either trend or pullback trades, trend pullback. Then you get some support here. You've probably traveled a fair distance in this trend, and you may start to see a weakening of the trend. You can see that with the divergence in the MACD. So, and then you've got a double bottom. Then we get price pushing towards that 200 period moving average, which is resistance as well, and then kind of another sell-off. So these Renko charts are great. They're not necessarily great to trade off because they obviously their execution isn't fantastic all of the time, and if you do run trade testing on these charts, you'll find that you'll get good results, but they'll never be 100. Your accuracy won't be 100% in real time. So you're looking at about 80 to 90% accuracy on the Renko charts, but they are very good if you're using them to frame up what's happening for the day. It's a great way of looking at the charts and saying, right, well, I want to trade gold today. This is a good way of kind of looking at what's happening with the charts and seeing where the market is as far as performance and where the market is as far as being bullish, bearish, and what opportunities present themselves. And if we go through and look at some other examples, you can see here the 22nd tight range day. You've got price moving 2.6 points. You've got a $300 kind of range here, so that's definite consolidation. You've got the next day, so we come here. We've got let's push on to the next day. We have starting off with a kind of a potential rally, but we're still below the 200 period moving average, so that's short. And then we get long, and then we start to test that, and it's a long day. So this is purely a long day, looking at to trade longs for the entire day. Now, the other thing we can use with this market profile is we can look at that time frame and just look at the higher time frame as well. So we can start to say, all right, based on what we're looking at here, the higher time frame is telling us that we're potentially here should be trading shorts. Higher time frame here is telling us we should be trading longs. So that just similar to what we're using in our strategies, but it just links it up nicely. Now, how could we use this profile to trade? So the easiest way for us to do that is use these charts as a filter, additional filter within our strategy, to potentially take long or short trades, and to look at, obviously where the reward to risk is. Like if you're, for example, looking at an initial breakout or a trend trade, you're going to have a higher reward to risk. Whereas if you're looking at a pullback, that's going to be a shorter reward to risk, isn't it? Because you're looking at smaller risk, and then potentially you're not looking to hit a home run on a pullback. You're looking just to take say a 2 or 3 to 1 profit. But whereas the initial trend might be 5 to 1 or 8 to 1 as far as reward to risk. So that I'll kind of give you a bit more of an update on that, but I'll be looking to put that together as part of a strategy that we're running. Now, a couple of other things that I wanted to cover off today. MT4, we'll jump over to MT4 because I've been running a few of these strategies on MT4, mainly the stuff that we've had developed before, which is the stuff we've got as far as the pivot trader, the Renko, the GMT systems, and then we're having a look at some of the systems that Jeff has sent over to, and they're doing really well. So the weekly midpoint, the weekly candle close, the golden candle, those strategies seem to be running really well on MT4. So, and his results have been very good. So I think I mentioned it last week about Jeff joining us. He's got his own Forex systems. So if you want to take a look at that, and you're looking at obviously trading both futures and Forex, you're more than welcome to trade the GMT systems, but you can also have a look at what Jeff's got on offer. His results over the last 16, 18 weeks have been fantastic. So we've just been automating a lot of what he's doing. So like all traders, or like a lot of traders, manual traders, they've got good systems, but they just a lot of manual traders obviously want to put that into automation, and that's what he's done. So we're kind of helping Jeff with that, and it's working really well. So if you want me to send you a link for that session, it's a daily session, 10 a.m. Brisbane time. Definitely send through an email, and I'll shoot you the link. But again, there's that session plus my session as well. So we're going to be pretty busy, obviously, moving forward. We will take a little bit of a break for the holidays, but plan to get stuck back into it fairly quickly. So if we're talking about time, that's the Forex system. Not really showing you much there. That's the weekly midpoint EA, which basically is a fairly simple strategy but does really well. Jeff will probably explain that a little bit more. That's again another one of his systems. This is the Deutschen channels, and this tracks price. So this is another one of these price channel strategies which works really well on a lower time frame. So I think he's running that on the hourly chart for his entry. So again, he looks for the strength of the trend based on performance of the currency pairs. So one pair will be strong, the other will be weak. That he's got an algo that determines what are his top 4 currency pairs based on strength and weakness, and that strength and weakness then drills down into opportunities to set up on the lower time frames. So looking at taking profit on the lower time frames based on strength and weakness in the market for the pairs. So definitely a nice, easy, kind of wraps it up for me. The key things for me were making sure that we're tracking our systems, making sure that we're looking at the returns and trying to get the most out of these strategies. Doing our optimization. One of the key things is reminding you that that on a weekly basis we need to be tracking the performance, but also looking at maintaining the performance of the system over a longer time frame. And part of that is just massaging the optimization variables, which are not going crazy with that and not over optimizing, but just being cognizant of the fact that we have to do some work to keep things kind of ticking along. It's like a little bit of a monthly health check, if you will. So I would definitely recommend that is part of your protocol and process. So guys, I'm going to wrap it up there. As I said before, we're back on Wednesday. So I'll send you out the link today for the meeting for Wednesday. Nice and early session. We'll probably get more and more people in as we start rolling these back and I start getting different time slots. So thanks for joining me, and there'll be a lot more activity and action as we go along. So feel free to send me any details, anything you want included in the meetings, any topics you want covered. So my goal is to do probably about a 20 to 30 minute session, and just really cover off the key things for the day, and then share ideas and just keep things rolling along. So the whole sharing information, ideas, and just collaborating is the way to go. And I think that we'll use this as part of the facilitation. And I'm happy to, if anybody wants to come on and chat or throw some ideas up, that's more than welcome. I can give you mic access if you'd like that as well. So guys, thank you for your time, and I will chat with you on Wednesday for our first session back for the daily session. So, and we'll be looking at the markets in live and in real time. I'll kind of log into the server that day, and we'll start looking at trades that we've taken and trade setups, and it'll be good, like we used to do back about 6 or 7 years ago when I was trading live in the market with a group of a fairly big group. So probably won't be that pressure because we're not putting live trades on, but it'll be good to be in the market live and tracking our systems. So thank you for your time, and we'll catch you on the next session. Cheers.